You want the whole story? I've had people ask me this question. When I took over the presidency, they were like, are you going to keep doing what Ed did? And I said, I'm going to keep being who Ed taught me to be. It's not me copying something. It's discipleship. It's in our DNA.
Momentum has been known for a long time as a conference organization. So it is no surprise over the past 3-4 years where we've seen some pretty amazing growth with conferences. And so I'm excited to at least start there and see what we can do.
There's a crisis in the local church, and it's a leadership crisis. The very first emotion, so to say, that churches have toward other churches is suspicion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to really build trust. It takes time.
And she said what this girl shared, this 14-year-old girl said, because we're doing the spiritual work of our souls. And when we go on a serve trip, we're just doing physical labor.
We're not competing. We're just different.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Momentum Ministry Partners podcast. This is season 5, episode 1, and we're doing an episode called Building Momentum. And so we're looking behind the scenes. We've got Jeff Bogue, who's the president of Momentum Ministry Partners. We got Donny Varney, who's the vice president of Momentum Ministry Partners. And I'm hearkening back right now to season 1, where Jeff is giving me the look, the look of trying to mess me up on the intro.
It's harder to do than it used to be.
Yeah, it's true.
I was just sitting here thinking how funny it would be if you did all that and Donnie and I never said a word. And you were just trying to fill the time the whole way through.
Phil, keep talking.
Yeah.
I would try.
You probably could do it.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, in literally in season 1, Donnie, you might not know this, Jeff, I would have to read the intro.
Yeah.
And so Jeff would try to mess me up. He'd make stupid faces at me and stick his tongue out and stuff. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
None of that is surprising.
Yeah. It brought me a deep amount of joy.
Yes. Yeah. It was fun. And here we are in we were just saying, at season 1, we literally sat in a garage recording on my phone during COVID, trying our best to build trust and credibility. And here we're in a pretty nice little studio that we have set up at Momentum Youth Conference.
I know. Big time. Moving on up.
There you go. So, Jeff, why don't we start with you?
Okay.
We're going to talk vision, mission. Who is Momentum Ministry Partners? How did we get here?
How do we get, you want the whole story?
1937.
Yeah, 88 years ago.
There you go.
Wow.
88 years ago, Momentum Ministry Partners was started by the Ashland Brethren organization, which became Grace Brethren. And it was started to produce curriculum. So its original name was CE National. Yeah. And so it was Christian Education National. And if you almost have to be a church person to remember this, but you used to receive boxes of Sunday school curriculum.
Yeah.
And so we were writing our own and printing it and distributing that to what is now Charis Fellowship churches. As that started to change and the curriculum kind of got broader, you kind of choose it on broader levels, Christian education became church effectiveness. And it was a ministry that would help churches be on mission, catalyze the work they were trying to do. That's how we got really involved in youth ministry, in urban ministry, and evangelism training. All that kind of stuff came from that, all the way to we had a program called North of 55, which was trying to refocus and refire senior citizens. So it was kind of soup to nuts with the church kind of a thing, the local church. And then 5 years ago, we became Momentum Ministry Partners. So that came from way back in the day. They started a youth conference. It used to be called BNYC, Brethren National Youth Conference. Probably, man, it's been a while now. I bet you close to 20 years ago ish. Don't quote me on that, but 15, 20 years ago, we changed it to Momentum Youth Conference. And then 5 years ago, when we stepped into leadership, I changed the name of the organization to Momentum Ministry Partners. So 88 years later, here we are, and still trying to serve the Lord and love and serve the local church.
Yeah. So Jeff, as we're Momentum Ministry Partners, we want to be partners of the local church. What's a win? What's a win for us as an organization? Share that.
A win for us as an organization is to come alongside a local church in any way that we can and act as a catalyst for them to being on mission and to propelling the gospel forward. So what a parachurch ministry does, which is what Momentum Partners is we do what a local church would not necessarily be able to do on their own. So for instance, we have urban centers. And it'd be very hard for a local church to have an urban center in Philadelphia and another one in Los Angeles. We're able to create that, and then the local churches can come to it, be trained in it, do evangelism, have cross-cultural experience. So we're able to create that.
Yeah.
The same thing with Momentum Youth Conference. It'd be very difficult for a local church to have a youth conference of 2,600 people with big bands and all those kind of things, that the dynamics that you can create. We're able to create that and then invite those local churches to it and then serve them and focus on them while they're here. So if you're talking about Momentum Pro, that is coaching for the local pastor, senior pastor, youth pastor, campus pastor. If you're talking about Momentum EDU, or what we often call Grace Akron, that is a national ministry, has a fully accredited program in undergrad and seminary in Akron, Ohio, where you can learn and do as you go. And then our urban centers, et cetera. So you would... that's what we do, is we serve the local church. We're a servant to the local church. We're just able, because we're not pastoring every day. We're not doing discipleship every day. We're not doing weddings and funerals and care every day. We're able to do the big things, like pour our energy there, which then propel that discipleship, that evangelism locally. So that's what we do. We come alongside a local church and we do our best to serve them.
I think it's fun that we're recording this podcast, just kind of looking back, because in 2020, when you became the president, our former kind of, we would say like a spiritual father to you and I especially, was Ed Lewis, who was in that role as president for
50 years. A long time. Yeah, Ed's the GOAT. And so he raised us in a lot of ways. When we were young pastors, he took us under his wing. He trained us. He exposed us to leading with evangelism, being on mission. And so I took that. You took that as a youth pastor back into your local church in Maryland. I took it as a senior pastor into the local church that I still lead, and that brought about health. And then we kind of stayed tied to Momentum because we loved and supported Ed, and then we also believed in what he was doing and wanted our staff and our people to be exposed to that too. But Ed stepped in many years ago, really moved Momentum forward. It was called C National back then. Moved it forward, raised generations of pastors that were on mission, coached us, trained us, exposed us to healthy churches, all those kind of things, and really impacted the world in a lot of ways. When he moved out of that role. Now he's in Hawaii. Ed is in his late 70s, and he started a homeless ministry in Hawaii. So he's just an amazing. I literally want to be like Ed as I get older, because he's never off mission. You know, he's like, I don't care how old I am. I'm breathing. I'm going to proclaim Jesus. I love it. But when I took over that role for him, we counted up how many lives his ministry impacted, and it was like a couple million.
Yes.
If you think about like the number, and then that person knows two people, like it his impact has been great. So yeah.
Well, I think that I always say you don't meet Ed, you experience him.
Yeah,
he has about
right,
the
yeah.
biggest personality ever. And like when he walks into a room, he wants to know every single person personally. He wants to laugh with you. He wants to encourage you, wants to pray with you, wants to make sure that you know about Jesus.
Yep.
And that culture has just infiltrated everything that we do. And so literally we're sitting at Momentum Youth Conference. There's a 5K, I think, going on. So I keep seeing out of the corner of my eye, like people running, and we're right out around the corner from the coffee shop, and there's big outbursts of laughter and people. And it's like, it feels like what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
He set up a culture, discipled us in it. So if you said to me, in fact, I've had people ask me this question when I took over the presidency. They were like, "Are you going to keep doing what Ed did?" And I said, "I'm going to keep being who Ed taught me to be."
Yes.
I don't like it. It's not me copying something. It
Right.
literally, it's discipleship. It's in our DNA. And so, we change things. Things have to change. Organizations have to change. But the core of that is never going away. Not on my watch, anyways.
Yeah.
And it's still very much alive. And in fact, this year, this is 2025, right? Yeah, it's 2025.
Yes.
This is the largest youth conference we've ever had.
Yeah.
But it's the same heartbeat, the same passion. And so it's
all over it.
So Momentum as an organization has a rich legacy, and it has a healthy presentism to it, and then it has a dynamic future, and so it's exciting to be a part of.
I think it's fun to kind of tell those stories and look back and see, like, how did we get here? Who are the key players to honor their legacy?
Yeah.
And actually, Ed couldn't be here this year. He's been here the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Which has been super fun. Just watch him teaching power tracks and hanging out with the students.
Yep.
And in his 70s, he's still going strong and loves the Lord. But the opportunity for us to kind of tell those stories and introduce even some of the new churches who are tying into who Momentum is, for them to understand, like, we've been around for a while, even though, you may not have heard of us with the name change and COVID and some of that. But Jeff, right around that time, 2019, 2020, Barna put out some stats that I know you and I read, and when we kind of learned that it kept us up at night for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, like, kind of share some of that and kind of how that process of learning that information kind of redirected a few things for us.
Yeah, so I'd say 2018, 2019, I took over in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Barna is a research group about local churches, and they did stats, and basically what they said was that within the next 10 years, 85% of all senior pastors would be of retirement age or older. And only 16% of senior pastors are under the age of 40. And so there's a crisis in the local church, and it's a leadership crisis. Mm-hmm. So when the board came to me, because I am a senior pastor of I have a significant day job, let's just say it that way, like a good sized church. And so I'm a senior pastor. When they came to me, they were like, well, would you think about taking this over? I said to them, I will not leave my church. But I have a unique relationship with Momentum. I've been around it for 30 years, and I wanted to see it continue to thrive. So I said, I will step in if we are a leadership development organization.
Yeah.
So there is a desperate need for leadership development, and there's a desperate need for the training of pastors. There's a desperate need for leadership development within local churches.
Yeah.
And so the board agreed. Like, they're like, we can get fully behind that. And I was like, well, if that's what we're doing, then I will do my best to be a part of that and see if we can go through a leadership transition. Because we also, TK, Tim Kurtanik, and Dana were significant at CE National. They also transitioned during that time. So there's a big leadership transition right then. So I said yes in January 2020. I think I talked you into it in
about that same time.
Shortly
after, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, Eric, Bethany, you guys want to uproot your life and start over?
I think you actually called I think you called on your way home from the board meeting where you got voted in. Was maybe?
I think I did because you were at the top of my list, and so we kind of stepped into that role.
Yeah.
And then March COVID hit, and I don't know. Nobody had any idea what they had signed up for. Seriously. So it turned into a little bit of craziness. But God has been faithful through it all, and here we sit. The gospel's still moving forward. Leaders are being developed.
Yeah.
It was fun the other night. Shannon Simmons, who oversees our Momentum EDU program that's held in Akron, had alumni and students stand up, and there was a bunch of them.
There were.
All through the room. I was like, wow, that's kind of fun to see.
Yeah.
These are men and women trained, fully accredited undergrad degree, trained in the Bible, then fully accredited seminary, and trained in ministry. So it's been a good ride so far.
I had that same thought. Part of the band, youth leaders, youth workers in different churches.
Pastor, senior pastor, yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I think one of the things that for me was wild to like look back on and see is just the impact. The impact of what God did in and through that time. I remember with COVID when we kind of like realized we're not going to be able to have Momentum Youth Conference. You can't meet in a college campus. And so we had a year where we had to get creative with Momentum on the road. But honestly, it was maybe the most memorable thing for me is you and I hopping on every Zoom call with every single person we could possibly talk to, churches, ministry leaders, past partners, and just saying like, listen, help us bridge this gap, because Momentum Youth Conference and a lot of our ministries is how we would fund ourselves for the year. And so to be able to lose that, and God was so faithful, and there were so many people who were willing to step in, and to those listeners, if you're listening, thank you for helping us with that. Like, you kept us alive and kept us afloat, and the fact that now we're like having our largest youth conference ever. I get goosebumps like thinking about that. Is so cool.
There was two things about that time period that really meant a lot to me. One is exactly what you just said, because the way that Momentum ministries finances work is we lay out money all year. We're like a church in some ways. We lay out money all year, and then we have a camp. We actually charge costs. We don't make money off of our camp, and we recover the money, then we do it again. Well, we had already laid it out. And so we're like, we're in trouble. And the people of God stepped up. We called, they stepped in, they gave, they supported us, they filled that gap, and they got us through. The next summer then, we still were not really, the colleges wouldn't let us gather. Because they were still under protocols. And so that's when we went on the road. And what I loved about that was because the people of God were so faithful to us financially, the churches then called and said, we need momentum. Like, our kids are down, like our youth groups is there any way that you can get this youth conference to us? And so we were able to take the resources that the folks gave, and we then used them to go to the kids. And I think we did 4 or 5.
It might have been 5. I don't remember. 4
or 5 different cities.
And
we would go in with bands and speakers.
4 days at each spot.
And do things. And for many of our the kids, it was moving for them. It's the first time they had been out. It was encouraging. It kept youth groups together and engaged. And it was a beautiful picture of like, it really cemented for us and I think the pastors at that time, like, oh, Momentum actually is here to serve us. And we're like, yes, we're desperately trying to help you and to get to these kids. And the people who gave were like, we believe you. And it's just a beautiful thing. And we were able to make that was crazy. We slept on a lot of church floors because we were doing it like, we're trying to keep the cost like as low as humanly possible. So we literally would take air mattresses, sleep on church floors. Drove
my minivan.
It was great. But we drove the Momentum mobile around. We made it happen. So it's more fun to remember maybe than it was to live through.
That's true. That's true.
But like the people of the church would make our team dinner. Like it was like, guys, nobody has much of anything right now, but we're trying. It was just really, really fun, and God used it. And then next year we were able to kind of turn the youth conference as we knew it back on and kind of get back at it.
Even that summer of doing Momentum on the Road, our core team, I think, bonded in unique ways.
It was new.
Yeah, and you and I are figuring it out. We had been, pastors that were involved in youth conference, but never ran any of it or planned it.
Yeah.
So we're like trying to figure it out. And I think every stop we would go to, we'd like work out a new kink. Like, okay, we figured out how to do this. And but it was just watching the team like hustle and work hard and try and solve problems. But it was always all for the students.
Yeah, and you'd see them come up. I remember when we did the first one, they weren't even sure they were allowed to interact with each other.
Yeah.
And you see them relax. You see them get excited about Jesus. You see them worship. And you'd leave, and you were like, you almost would be teary leaving because God had worked in such good ways, and you realize that the work was so important. Yeah. And then we go to the next one. It was exhausting, but so rewarding. It like if you said, you want to do it that way? I'd be like, no.
Nope.
But if you said, no. Would you do it again? I'd be like, yeah, I'd do it again because God used it and it was cool that way.
I think it even that story in that summer so shows. I think you hit the nail on the head. It shows our hearts as pastors, as ministry leaders, as Momentum ministry partners. We really do want to serve the local church, and so even when you break down each of our ministries, like when you think about Momentum Youth Conference, we really want youth pastors to bring their church, and we're like, you don't have to set up the dodgeball tournament, you don't need to go put out cones, you don't need to you just get your kids here and we'll take care of the rest, because we want you to spend time with your students. We want you to go play dodgeball with them and have fun.
And it's a unique thing. I was talking to actually one of our speakers that was in this year, and he asked me, he said, what's your profit margin on this thing? I said, it's pass through, man. He was shocked. I was like, no, we're trying to get kids here. This is not a income generator.
Right.
Like, we're trying to get kids here. And so there's a spirit about it. And everybody knows there's overhead, everybody knows things cost money. That's not a big deal. But our relationship with our church, with the churches who are here, are unique. And then it's also that we don't walk away with the mailing list of your kids.
Right.
They respond to an invitation, that name goes back to you.
Yeah.
They have a discipleship moment, that goes back to you. The tools we create, or even the ways that we create the sessions, is so that they go back to you. And it's a unique thing. I think God's plan is the local church.
Yeah.
So I think a parachurch organization needs to always remember that and put ourselves in that place. And that is actually the character and ethos of Momentum, starting with Ed Lewis, and then all that. That's what I mean. Like that's like our reflex. It's not copying. It's how he taught us.
Yep.
And so we just we act in that vein.
It's DNA.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fun.
Yeah. And you see it not in Momentum Youth Conference alone, but also in our urban centers. And so like Tim and Rob, our urban center directors in LA and Philadelphia, if you book a trip with them, they're going to ask you key questions. Who are you bringing? If it's middle school students, they're going to custom build you a trip appropriate to get middle school students out of their comfort zone. If you're like, we're going to bring our staff and elders and we want to do a getaway and have our hearts broken for the lost again, well, guess what they're doing? They're going to Skid Row, or they're going into Kensington, and they're going to push them deep. And it's all equipping to go back to your local community and impact your local church to accomplish the vision that God gave you.
Yeah, and like in LA, as an example, like Momentum has housing.
Yep.
And why? So it can be accessible for your local church.
Yes.
And it's not the Hyatt, but it's clean, it's safe, it's good. The people of the local church serve there, but it's to make all of that accessible. So like when Eric said, bring your elders and your team, that actually happens.
Yeah.
Bring your young adult teams. That actually, you go to LA, parts of LA, it's a total crowd. You might as well be in a different country.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with Philly. Philly is a total cross-cultural because of the drugs and the alcohol and the violence and the needs of the neighborhood there.
Yeah.
And again, we facilitate the housing, all those kind of things. So it's unique in that way.
Yeah.
And I would say that is pro.
Yep.
Like we're trying to help your youth ministry or your church be better. How do we serve you? What are your questions? How can we come along you? That's the same way with EDU. And it's the same spirit that we're developing even new stuff right now.
Yeah. So, all right, Jeff, we kind of talked about some of those ministries. Let's
Yes.
share a little bit briefly about Momentum Marketplace and how that's kind of the newest program ministry opportunity that we have. Talk a little bit, if you will, about Marketplace and how that is unique to come alongside local churches.
So Marketplace is one of my favorite things ever. And so what we did in Marketplace is this. We want young adults, even older professionals and teenagers to explore your calling. And that calling might be to full-time ministry, or that calling for most people is into the full-time marketplace. And so in Marketplace, what we do is we walk you through what a calling is, and then we help you understand your spiritual gifts and kind of the unique ways that God created you. And then we talk you through and walk you through how that shows up in a Christ-centered way in the marketplace. And we tapped into a bunch of marketplace leaders, men and women who are passionate about the relationship with Christ and also very effective in the marketplace. We tie that in locally. Then we created a video curriculum and like a written workbook, if you want to do it that way, that can be executed on a local level. And then we teach you how to get those local mentors tied into your kids. So it does amazing things. It prepares people for the marketplace. It shifts their mindset that my calling, my church life and my work life are not separate things. It's all part of the calling. It lets them develop a personal vision. It does intergenerational relationships because a lot of times it is younger people with older people, or maybe a way to say it is experienced people with inexperienced people. And it's a powerful thing. We then took it and put it all in Spanish. So it is fully developed in Spanish for the Hispanic community, Spanish-speaking world. And it's going out to churches. We see churches use it. We see schools use it. Colleges use it. Business owners take it and train their young leaders. And it's a wonderful program.
For me personally, my favorite part is just seeing if you go on the website, the momentummarketplace.org, the free giveaway when you just fill out your email is a 4-week student ministry curriculum that then you can use in your student ministry to help students understand exactly what you said. And so it's a foundation that then gets built upon. But for me as a longtime youth pastor and working with our churches and youth ministry, seeing the number one thing that a lot of youth pastors say is we need more help. We need more adult volunteers. And they're like, well, where do we get them? And so a lot of churches tend to think, well, let's hire another youth director. Let's hire. I'm like, that's not equipping the saints to do the work of the ministry. And so when you introduce Momentum Marketplace, it gives those adults, those missional marketplace leaders, a conversation, a talking point. It gives them a track to run on. It lets them mentor students that want to be an entrepreneur and understand, how do I make Jesus make sense to my coworkers in the construction field or the workplace? And so it's really cool to see that happen. All right. Well, Jeff, introduce who is sitting here next to us, our new Vice President, Donny Varney.
Never seen this guy in my life.
What I'm doing here.
No, if we start talking about the future of Momentum, Donny is the future of Momentum. And so Donny and I have been friends for over a decade. He, like I said, I'm a local church pastor. Donny came in to build out a discipleship sports ministry for us. So literally almost started from scratch with it and took it from scratch to thousands of kids, hundreds of volunteers, thousands and thousands of parents that are a part of that ministry. Over 10 years, if you compounded that, you get into the hundreds of thousands of lives that have been touched. And we have seen God do phenomenal things. He continues to do phenomenal things through sports ministries at our church. And that's been Donny's design and leadership over the years. So about I don't know, year and a half ago ish, we started talking, and felt like it was Donnie felt like it was time for a new season in his life, and I was like, "What are you thinking?" He's like, "I'm not sure." I'm like, "Well, I got an idea. What if you came over and interacted in Momentum, and what if we put you on a pathway to one day take my seat and you be the president of Momentum?" So Donnie is the vice president right now. We're on about probably a 2-ish year, 2.5 year. We're kind of playing it by ear a little bit, pathway to where he would become the president. I remain a pastor, and I told the board from the get-go that is my calling. So Momentum has so much potential, so many exciting opportunities. It needs the full-time energy, and Donnie is not an average leader. He's an exceptional leader, and he doesn't have a little bit of energy. He's got a lot of energy. So I'm super excited that he's on board and starting to take things forward.
Yeah. Donnie, speak into that a little bit, just your tenure at Grace Church and what your sports ministry team, you've been obviously on past episodes, but I always kind of present you to people as a team builder, and you build teams that build teams, but kind of share a little bit about what that looked like for you.
Yeah, I'm dead serious when I say I don't bring a lot to the table other than over time, I am pretty passionate to bring in as many other people to something that I feel really passionate about. So I won't bring a lot of skill sets. I won't probably be neck deep in a lot of the details of what Momentum is, but I believe in it. I believe in Jeff first and foremost. I've been able to see firsthand God's hand in his life and ministry up close. And so those are some of the things that to some extent I lack those instincts, but when I see it and feel it and trust it, I will do everything I know to do as a leader to grow that, to recruit like crazy, to get other people excited about it, to, by God's grace, improve it, bring some new things, new energy to it, dream of what could be done. And as Jeff described more and more some of what the needs were for Momentum, I'm like, well, I'll give it a shot, and we'll see what happens.
It's stuff that you're really good at.
For sure.
Yeah, it's cool.
For sure. So Donnie, you started last fall, so coming up a couple months on a year with us. What are some of the things that as you've been watching and learning, building relationships with the team, stepping into, where do you see this kind of going? Like, what are you most excited about of what God's doing in and through Momentum Ministry Partners? Well,
I'm super simple-minded, so even from the beginning, asking a ton of questions, seeing where God's hand is, which is it's all over the map with Momentum. But most people, when you ask them, we are making amazing strides in a lot of different efforts, but you could sum it up by saying Momentum has been known for a long time as a conference organization.
Yeah.
So it is no surprise over the past 3-4 years where we've seen some pretty amazing growth with conferences. And so I'm excited to at least start there and see what we can do. Maybe it's a middle school conference here really soon. I have a tremendous network over the past 10, 11 years in sports ministry, and there are thousands of churches across the country that are trying to figure out how to do that in a way that's going to bring people to Christ. So I think that in the near future, by God's grace, we're going to see a sports ministry conference.
Cool.
So those would be a couple things among others. So
yeah. Now, you've been working hard. You've been meeting with a lot of donors, potential donors. Even Jeff and I, as we've been out traveling and going and do Momentum on the road and meeting with people along the way. Like, you're getting to come back and kind of invest and share some of these stories, and you're trying to build a donor base.
Yeah.
And so, as you know, we've said along the way, like, having lost Ed and TK and the leadership transition, we also lost some of our donor base, a lot of our donor base.
Yep.
And so we're rebuilding that. And so what are some of the stories that you've shared along the way that you're seeing or highlighting the significant impact of what God's doing?
I really could take several hours on that topic and we won't, but the story of my life, and I'm sure our lives, is that we can have a plan and we can think that it's going to go one way. But if you do the best you can to follow God's leading, he ends up blowing your mind and doing things that you're very confident, despite whatever my best plan could have been, God is able to take it in different directions that are far better. And this journey that I've been on over the past 9 months, just talking to people, some who've known Momentum for a long time, others who've never heard about Momentum, and just engaging with them one-on-one and getting an opportunity to talk about what God is doing, and for them to be not only excited about it, interested, but like 30 minutes later, here's a check to get that going further, has just been one of the highlights of my ministry life. And it's the weirdest thing. Everyone's like, hey, I know you're kind of leading the staff now a little bit and trying to figure out what to do with sports and thinking through the future. And I guess you're trying to raise some money for Momentum. Like, what's been your favorite thing? I'm like, I actually am enjoying the fundraising side of it, because I do feel like it's not only blessing and helping propel something that I think should go forward, but as I'm talking to these potential donors who are becoming real donors, it's a gift to them that they're thankful. Yeah. They're thankful to see and to hear and to trust something where they can get behind it. Yeah. And I don't have the full picture, but I can actually already see a year or 2 or 3 from now, just an army of folks who are like, I might not be able to be Eric Miller or Jeff Bogue or a lot of these other just key, or Ed Lewis, these key influential people. But man, if I can get behind it in this way, I'm in. And if God can use me to help connect those dots a little bit, for whatever reason, I uniquely get excited about that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Jeff, anything to add there?
I just feel like God has raised Donny up for such a time as this. He and I have a close relationship. I am looking forward and excited that he's going to take Momentum into the future. Yeah. He also knows and trusts I'm not looking to be away from Momentum. I'm actually trying to do what's best for it. Yeah. And because we've worked so closely over the years, like there's that partnership is a little easy for us, you know? And so when I look ahead under his leadership, I'm like, this is going to be exciting. And it's going to be exciting. The sports ministry, as an example, I often say, if you'll take out your pews and buy 2 basketball goals, you can have a children's youth sports program, and you will reach your community. For sure. So just stuff like that, like we've explored and played with those ideas and actually put them into practice. Well, there's that, and then there's 1,000 other things, and it's back to Momentum being in a place where we serve the local church well. We don't sell products. We don't garner mailing list and steal your donors. It's not how we roll. Right. You know, we're trying to serve, and I think God has blessed that. And I think one of his blessings is that Donny is going to step into this role and kind of take us into the next 20, 25 years. And so I love that, and I'm grateful, and I'm grateful that God moved he and his wife Becky and their family into that place. Yeah. It was fun.
It is fun. I think even in this last year, as I look at the team that God is building at Momentum, it's fun to see the unique giftings and abilities and how we kind of all work together and play to our strengths. And so even as I've made a goal and have been out traveling and trying to connect with people and just introduce them to who Momentum Ministry Partners is, almost without fail, the number of question I get is, how have I never heard of you guys before? Yeah. And so this year at Momentum Youth Conference, we have 12 new churches.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm getting to walk with them through. I'm like the new church liaison. Yep. And so integrating them into who Momentum is and helping answer questions. And I have loved seeing these churches go, wow, you guys really care. Yeah. And you're really here for us.
Let me just lean into that, Eric, because what you just said is huge. It probably takes 3 to 5 years to develop a trust relationship with a church where they would come, stop doing what they were doing and start doing something different. So that's really a testimony to you.
It really is.
And your relationships and your pursuit and and your giftedness. I like going places with Eric because he remembers your sister's cousins' dogs pet rabbit.
I've seen this firsthand.
Yeah,
It's true.
it is. I mean, it is a sight to behold. I'm like, how do you know these things?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just remember. But you have been like plowing that ground. So when you say 12 new churches, I just wanted to say to everybody, like, it's hard to explain what a feat that is, because we don't really sell a product. We're asking you to come into a relationship.
Yes.
And one of the things that's true about church life is the very first emotion, so to say, that churches have toward other churches is suspicion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to really build trust, and it takes time. And so when you say we have a great team, I want to make sure that everyone knows, like, you are a critical part of that team too.
Fair.
And I see that, like, we did not have to come fix something that was broken. We had to come transition something, and it's normal. You know, we're all going to do it one day. We're going to have to be the people that let it go to the next people, because it belongs to the Lord. But those transitions are hard, especially when you have wonderful leaders like TK Tim Kartanik and Ed Lewis.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it even harder because they were great.
Yeah.
And so reestablishing that trust, all the craziness of COVID, if you live through it, and then kind of the refire of the engine, but with the same core mission, vision, and values, and then gathering of people, the leadership around that holds all that instinctually. The Lord decided He wants this little ministry to be around, and so I think we see that every day, and we want to steward it. And I think the vision that Donny's bringing to the future, I'm like, oh man, this thing's going to be killer, you know, as it develops more and more. So it's a fun time.
Yeah. I got to just share this. So thank you for the kind words. But I was talking to one of those new church leaders, and she was telling me that she's the youth director at the church. This is their first time that they've been here. They're traditionally a church that would do mission trips, and they'll do serve projects, both like local, and then they'll travel international and do a mission trip. And nothing wrong with that at all. Love that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's great. If that's what your church is and what you want to do, we support that. We're never offended that you don't bring your church to Momentum Youth Conference. But it was fun for her. She was asking her students, what did you think of this compared to, you know, doing some of those serve projects, because they chose to come here this year. And she told me that one of her 14-year-old students, who had last year was her first year on a serve trip, this is her first year at Momentum Youth Conference, she actually said that this week was harder. And I was like, interesting. Why is that? And she said, what this girl shared, this 14-year-old girl said, because we're doing the spiritual work of our souls. And when we go on a serve trip, we're just doing physical labor. And this is way harder to do because we're actually learning and growing and maturing because of
That's interesting.
I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, very fascinating.
So it's such a test that encouraged me greatly.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have ever been able to articulate that myself.
And I like what you're saying. Like, it's both valuable, but it's different.
Yep.
Yes.
It's not. This isn't Christian entertainment.
Correct.
It's not really a camp.
Right.
But there's like some of the fun elements, you know, and it's not really a conference. It's like a camp Russ.
Campus.
Or something like that. Like, it's a mix between a camp and a conference. And conference. That's a great way. Yeah. We need to copyright that right away. But that's kind of what it is. And they even do service here.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
And again, that is that wonderful DNA that we inherited, that we want to keep making better, stronger, even when at times it presents in different ways. That's just normal change. But I don't know, God, it is. If I did not believe in God, I would say we were so lucky that we didn't shut down during COVID.
True.
And because I believe in the Lord's sovereignty, I would say God decided to preserve us.
Yeah.
And not only preserve us, but allow us to thrive.
Yeah.
And I think, this is my opinion, I think in part that's because of our heart for the local church, that we're not trying to build a brand,
Correct.
sell product, build a business.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that it takes money to do ministry. That there's no shocker there, but we really are trying to make the heartbeat of Jesus, which is His church, thrive in a special way. And so, what I love about that story about that girl is she's with her youth director.
Yeah.
She's sharing her heart with their youth group.
Yep.
She's going to go back to her local church, and it's going to play out there, and it's awesome. All those things also happen on mission trips.
Yes.
So I love what you're saying. Like we're not competing. We're just different. But I love the local part of that, and that local family of God is played out that way.
Yeah. It's beautiful. So one of the things I often say is like, if I don't want any of us to be a salesperson. And so I'm like, if you look at us, if it ever feels like we're a salesperson, we're just trying to push a product and make a dime, like I'll go back to being a pastor at a local church. I don't care. I don't want to do that. I want to help serve the local church, and I want to see it be built up.
What? Go ahead.
My favorite Jeff Bogue momentum statement is how he says he's really good at the not-for-profit part.
I always tell the board that. I'm like, if you guys weren't looking to make a profit, I am your guy.
Yeah.
I love, though, that you have 3 pastors here.
Yeah.
And overseeing momentum, and that's our heart. We didn't create something and now we're trying to sell it. We steward something, but we're pastors seeking to help like our colleagues, so to say.
Yep.
And I don't know. I love that part of our heartbeat with it.
Yeah.
I'm grateful we're entrusted with it.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fun. Anything else that we kind of want to share with the audience?
Well, with the audience?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
All right.
I mean, we'll talk later in your HR review.
He's just giving. I thought you were gonna like drop a teaser or something.
Yeah.
Like,
I was
man,
there for it too.
Dun dun dun
Dun, dun,
Like,
dun. I will.
breaking news.
If you pay me $19.99.
There you go.
12 easy payments.
12 easy payments, $19.99, and you will find out what I was actually going to say.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. I'm intrigued. What could it be? Well, on this season of the podcast, we really are wanting to serve the local church, and so we'll just kind of continue living in our sweet spot. And so, Donny and I have been talking and brainstorming about the podcast and special guests that we can have on. And so, here this week at Momentum Youth Conference, all our speakers have been a part of a podcast episode, and so we're just kind of wanting to help network and connect you to other resources that are out there that'll benefit your church. And so stay tuned for this season. We're going to continue to bring guests on through our Riverside podcast stream, and if there's somebody that you'd love for us to reach out to or be able to interview, or a topic you want to learn about, we'd love to serve you in that way and help ask the right questions and be a right resource for you. So thanks for tuning into this episode. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Momentum Ministry Partners Podcast. If you found this episode helpful, would you subscribe, rate, and leave us a review? That helps more people discover this podcast. We'd also love for you to share this episode with someone in your network who could benefit from the conversation. Because we want to be your go-to and most trusted resource, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a topic you'd like us to cover in a future episode, send us an email to info@buildmomentum.org. Or you can send us a DM on any of our social media platforms. And if you want to learn more about Momentum Youth Conference, Urban Centers, Greece College Akron, Momentum Marketplace, or Momentum Pro, head over to buildmomentum.org. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.